Okay, so today I will be giving an informative speech, and in this speech, we could do political, economical, social, religious, ethical issues, historical events, or issues, theories, principles, or laws, creative work, or era. I personally chose a political slash historical topic because it is about politics, and which is crazy because I'm not really a political person. I don't really like to get into politics, but it was also a huge historical event, and it would be this last election, the 2020 election. Now we all know that we have a new president, which is Joe Biden, and this was actually the first huge election that I could participate in because I've always been too young. So this was the first time I could actually participate in politics, in the United States politics, which I was skeptical but excited about. I felt like this election was very serious for the United States. But of course, it was between our last president, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. And there were a lot of different things that happened in this election that, hadn't happened in other elections. For example, states that usually aren't blue, they were blue in this election. Blue meaning Democratic. And my state, actually, because I am from Georgia, was blue, and it totally surprised me. It had happened in past elections, but with this being the first one I could actually participate in, and seeing Georgia turn blue was crazy outstanding to me. And not only just whole states turn blue, I was actually intrigued by, what states turned blue, and I actually even got more in depth and figured out what counties turned blue. So not only did I look through, during the election, did I look through, what states, or was I looking at what states turned blue, I also was looking at what part of that state turned blue. So even if it was a red state, many states in the South are mostly red, which is a Republican state. And even parts of states that would usually be red, would actually be blue, and it blew my mind. I was so surprised. Like, usually in Georgia, because I'm from Georgia, I can speak about Georgia, but usually, in Georgia, Savannah and Macon, and though South Georgia, Albany, would usually be blue, but in this past election, it was actually, it would usually be red, but in this past election, it was actually blue. Places in Tennessee, places in Mississippi, New Orleans, I know just off the top of my head on ones that I actually can remember were blue. So it definitely surprised me. Because these are, predominantly Republican states. And it was very interesting to see that, this was such a big part of history, being a huge election. And I feel like not only did the election a big part of history and played a large part in history, the pandemic also, I think, allowed people to sit down and focus on something and to go vote, to get out, to do something, to be able to do something productive. And not saying that, I chose a side, but the last election was definitely a huge, like, more people even voted last year. And I do think because it was because of the pandemic. I also think the more younger people. So like our age group, my age group, were inclined to go vote this year. I saw in this past election there were more celebrities promoting it. Like, I don't know if you know who this is, but DaBaby, he actually went and picked people up on buses and took them to the polls, and they encouraged people to vote. People in the music that we listen to, they encouraged our younger generation, or my generation, to go vote. And it was so different from years in the past. I think this was the most publicized election. Well, the most publicized that I knew about. Maybe I wasn't paying much attention in the past because I really couldn't participate. Like, I could have an opinion, but I couldn't actually go vote and make my voice heard. And this year I feel like, last year more people were voting. The numbers were out of the roof last year. This election was just a really big part of history, and it was also a big political event, and I don't think anybody will ever forget it. Thank you.